You wake up at 5:52 in the morning. No alarm. Your eyes just open the way they do now. You walk to the kitchen in socks. The floor is cold. You make coffee, the same coffee you've made for 9 years, and you sit at the table while it's still dark outside. Your phone buzzes once. $19. Paid to you overnight while you were unconscious, while your body did nothing but breathe. Not from a client, not from a boss, from owning. You used to set 3 alarms. You used to hit snooze until the guilt outweighed the exhaustion. That version of you is still in here somewhere, but he doesn't run the mornings anymore. You didn't get rich. You hit a number, a small, specific, boring number. And boring numbers, it turns out, are the ones that actually change a life. You are 24. You've been putting away $200 a month for 2 years. The kind of saving nobody notices. No big sacrifice story, just a smaller grocery cart and a phone you didn't upgrade. $5,000 sits in your account. Most people your age would call that a down payment on a car they don't need. You open a brokerage app instead and buy a dividend index fund. The boring kind, the kind your friends have never heard of and wouldn't ask about if they had. At a 4% yield, $5,000 pays you $200 a year. $200 covers your coffee, not symbolically. Literally, every cup you drink for the next 12 months is paid for by money that isn't yours in the sense that you earned it with hours, but is yours in every other sense that matters. You tell no one. Your roommate spends $200 that same week on a jacket. You drink your coffee black at the kitchen table and you don't say anything because there's nothing performative about this. It's just math. Quietly working in the background of your life. 2 years later, you're 26. The number has tripled, partly from saving, partly from the dividends you never touched. The ones you clicked reinvest on every single time without thinking twice. $15,000 pays you $600 a year. $600 is your internet and your phone bill, both of them, for the entire year. Gone. Covered. Off your plate forever, as long as the number doesn't shrink. You notice something at this stage that nobody warns you about. You start checking the account less, not more. The anxiety that used to come with money, the refreshing, the worrying, the comparing, starts to fade because the number isn't going anywhere fast. It's just quietly doing its one job. Your coworker leans over at lunch one day, sees a ticker on your screen, and laughs. That's it? That's like nothing. You don't argue, you don't explain compounding to a man holding a $7 latte he financed on a credit card. You just close the laptop and go back to your sandwich. You are 29, 5 years of the same quiet decision, made over and over, never broken. $50,000 pays you $2,000 a year. $2,000 is your electricity, your water, and your streaming subscriptions, all 12 months, paid in full by shares you'll still own in January. You sit at the kitchen table one Sunday morning, doing the math, and it hits you sideways. Not as excitement, but as a strange, settled calm. Every time you flip a light switch this year, somebody else is paying for it. Not you, not your hours, your shares. That weekend, your best friend gets engaged. Everyone gathers at a restaurant that's too expensive for what it is, and her fiance orders a bottle of wine that costs more than your dividend payment that month. He announces he just signed a lease on a new truck, $640 a month, and the table claps. You order water, you eat your food, you smile in the right places. On the drive home, your partner asks if something's wrong. She says you've been quiet all night. You say you were just thinking. You don't say that $640 a month is $7,680 a year. Gone. No matter what happens, while your $50,000 will keep paying you $2,000 whether you work next year or not. You just hold her hand at the red light and let the city lights pass over the windshield. You're 32, 6 figures. The number you used to picture as the finish line back when you were 19 and broke and certain that money would fix everything once you had enough of it. It doesn't change everything. It pays you $4,000 a year. $4,000 is your car insurance, your gas, and half your phone plan for the next decade if nothing changes. Except things will change. The number will grow because it always does when you leave it alone. You walk through the grocery store one Saturday with this fact sitting in your chest like a low hum. Every item in your cart this month, somebody else bought it. A man near the cereal aisle is on the phone, a voice raised, saying something about a car payment he's behind on. You don't know him. You'll never see him again. But you notice the tightness in his shoulders and you recognize it because you used to carry it too. That night, an old friend from high school texts you. He's found something, he says, a stock paying a 14% yield, monthly payouts, guaranteed income, he calls it. You open the chart. The yield is real. The company is not healthy. The price has fallen 55% in 18 months, and the dividend is being paid out of a business that's bleeding, not growing. This is what happens when people chase the number instead of the foundation underneath it. You text back one line. Be careful. Check the payout ratio first. He sends back a fire emoji and buys in anyway. 4 months later, the dividend gets cut by 60%. He stops mentioning it. You keep your boring fund, you keep your $4,000, you keep walking through the same grocery store on the same Saturdays, and nothing about that feels small to you anymore. If the yield looks too good to explain in one sentence, it is too good. A steady 4% will outlive every flashy 14% you'll ever be tempted by. You're 35, $250,000, a number nobody at your job has any idea you're sitting on. It pays you $10,000 a year. $10,000 is your car payment if you had one, your full year of insurance, your gas with enough left over for 2 flights home to see your parents. You're sitting in traffic on a Tuesday in March when you notice this clearly for the first time. The man in the lane beside you is gripping his wheel, knuckles pale, yelling at someone through his Bluetooth. His SUV is brand new. His face is not. You're driving the same car you bought 5 years ago. Paid off, nothing fancy, seats a little worn, but the engine doesn't care about that. His vehicle owes a bank $740 a month for 4 more years. Yours owes nothing to anyone. That night, you check the dividend account out of habit, not worry. The number is a little bigger than last month, the way it always is now. You think of something your grandmother used to say, the people with the most money rarely look like it, and the people who look like it rarely have it. You didn't understand that sentence as a teenager. You understand it completely now, sitting in your driveway, not in a hurry to go inside, because you haven't been in a hurry for a long time. You're 38, $500,000, the number that quietly rewires how you sleep at night. It pays you $20,000 a year. $20,000 is rent in most of the country, or a mortgage payment fully covered for 12 months, or every utility bill and grocery run combined with room to spare. This is the line financial planners have referenced for 30 years. The 4% rule, the rough floor beneath which you wouldn't starve even if every paycheck stopped tomorrow. You're not rich at this number. You wouldn't be flying first class or buying property outright. But you would survive completely on the income alone. You realize this on a Friday at 5:40 in the evening. When your manager appears at your desk, asking if you can stay late, again, the 3rd time this month. The old you would have said yes before the sentence finished. This time, you pause. Just 3 seconds, long enough to notice something new sitting in your chest. You feel optional for the first time in your working life. You still say yes, but it's a choice now, not a reflex. And the difference between those two things is enormous, even though it looks identical from the outside. You drive home at 9 p.m. through an empty parking lot and you sit in the driver's seat for a moment before starting the engine. Thinking about the 24-year-old who opened a brokerage app for the first time and bought $200 worth of something boring while his roommate bought a jacket. That version of you had no idea this is where it would lead. $500,000 doesn't make you free, but it gives you the only word that's ever actually expensive. It gives you the option to say no. You're 41, $1 million. You don't feel different. Your apartment looks the same. Your reflection looks the same. Maybe a little more tired around the eyes. Nothing dramatic. But the number is real, and it pays you $40,000 a year. A full salary replaced permanently without you trading another hour for it. You sit at your kitchen table on a Tuesday night and do something you haven't done in over a decade. You open a tax calculator and type in $40,000 of qualified dividend income. Single filer, current tax year. You hit enter. The number that comes back is 0. You check it twice because it doesn't feel real. Under the federal threshold for qualified dividends, that income is taxed at nothing, while every dollar you ever earned from a job got a third of it taken before it reached your account. You sit back in the chair, you don't smile, you don't call anyone, you just sit there for a minute, letting it settle, thinking about every overtime shift you ever worked for taxable income that the government quietly skimmed before you saw a cent of it. This $40,000 is different. This $40,000 is entirely yours. The next morning at work, your manager talks about quarterly targets in a meeting you only half hear. You take notes. You nod in the right places. Nobody in that room knows you could resign on Monday and your life would not change shape at all. You eat lunch alone on a bench outside, a sandwich from home, sun on your face, and you understand something that no amount of money ever explained to you when you were younger. $1 million doesn't buy you a different life on the outside. It buys you silence on the inside, the kind where you stop needing anyone's permission to exist the way you already are. You're 44, $1.5 million. It pays you $60,000 a year, close to what the average household actually spends to live comfortably, covered permanently without touching the principal, which keeps growing on its own regardless of what you do with your time. You read a headline over coffee one morning, a retirement planning study claiming Americans now believe they need around $1.5 million to retire with any confidence. You read it twice. You're already there. You sit by the window with your coffee, watching the street fill with people heading to jobs, brake lights, someone jogging to catch a bus they're about to miss. You used to be one of them, every single morning, for years. You think about the 24-year-old with $5,000 who chose a boring fund over a jacket, who got laughed at over a $200 coffee payment, who had no proof yet that any of this would work, only the discipline to keep going anyway. That version of you grew up. The math did exactly what math does when nobody interrupts it. You open your laptop and write one short email to your manager. You read it twice, then you hit send. You don't feel panic. You don't feel a rush of euphoria either. You feel the same thing you felt on that very first morning, years ago, when $19 landed in your account while you were still asleep. Calm, quiet, certain. The number people spend their whole lives chasing. You've already reached it. And it took one decision, repeated for 20 years, never abandoned for a louder one. While everyone else was working for money, you spent 2 decades quietly teaching your money to work for you. And from here, every morning belongs to you completely, the way this one already does. Coffee in hand, nothing buzzing on your phone that you didn't already expect.